I definitely think I set a personal challenge for myself, which is reflected in my time achieved for completion. If I revisit my original brief for the challenge, I can again say that running is a high impact sport unlike show jumping. Psychologically, I had prepared myself for a flat course, but the lake had a couple of hills towards the end of each lap, and the cold weather didn't help. However, overall, I am happy with my efforts. My challenge exhibited quite a few strengths, but a couple of them were as follows. It was accessible to train, so there was no need to rely on resources because all I really needed was runners. The actual challenge was not very time consuming, and I was able to organise it in my own time because I did not do it during an organised race. And I was able to have a friend with me, which was really good to run with to increase motivation. I did not have to learn and master a new skill. For example, if I was to do kayaking, it was more of a matter of getting fit enough and trusting my technique as opposed to having to learn something from start till finish. I would have really liked to have achieved my desired time. Obviously, I missed out by a couple of minutes, but better knowledge of the final challenge area would have been excellent to avoid this. Obviously, before I went, I didn't know there was hills in the course. And also the other thing I would like to improve was to avoid overtraining sickness. So halfway through my training, I got a cold, and it meant that I didn't get to train and didn't get to go to the gym for a little while. So this went backwards on my training, and it put me behind schedule, you could say. There are plenty of things I could do to ensure that I achieve these outcomes, such as set aside more time for cardio workouts to ensure I gain a higher level of fitness. Therefore, it would be easy to achieve my desired time, which leads me to my next point, better knowledge of the final challenge area to avoid unwanted hills, which is one of the reasons I did not run my 28 minutes for 5Ks. As far as avoiding unwanted sickness, this could be minimised by a slower intensity increase in training and a better diet. During my training, I did modify my diet to suit my training, and although I cut down on alcohol intake, it would still be a factor if I'd need to cut down a bit more in the future for better results and to avoid colds. My body was just not used to the level of training I was doing, I think, and so I think it would just have to be a slower process and a better thought out one. I have learned from this task, like we know in everyday life, it is easy to have a training schedule planned out, but things don't always turn out the way you want them to be, and things pop up in everyday life. So it was hard to fit training in, especially when my training for show jumping season started. I also think if I was entered in an organised race, I would have had a higher motivation to train, although I think I was just as nervous as I would have been if I was in a set race. Although we already know that everyone is different in their experience and skill level in things, this task reiterated that a task that I find really hard, for example a 5K run, one of my colleagues would have not. However, they would find it hard to ride a horse. I have learnt that I am biomechanically and physiologically able to run with the right amount of training. The fact that there was hills in the course was a psychological barrier that I was able to overcome. I guess the biggest thing that we learn about this and what's going to help us in the industry is that everyone is different, and training needs to be individualised, and everyone is motivated by different things, and they've got different priorities. With busy lives, even with an activity as simple as running, I found it hard to train for. So I think the biggest thing we can learn from this experience is just to go out there and remember to accommodate for everyone's needs.